Hi, I'm Mike from 1A Auto. We've been selling auto parts for over 30 years.
In this video, we are going to be removing and installing a new thermostat in a 2000 Nissan Pathfinder. If you need parts for your vehicle, click the link in the description and head over to 1aauto.com. All right, we're going to pop the hood right here. Pull that lever. There's a release right here. If you go to the center and to the right a little bit, right there. I'm going to grab the prop rod. You can put it right there. All right, we're going to disconnect the negative terminal in the battery. Use a 10mm wrench. Loosen it up. Get a little looser. And we'll pull that up, set that aside. All right, pull these two clips over here. Right here, right here. There's two clips over here. And then this one gets pulled up from down underneath. Pull up. Pull the air filter up. Use a straight blade screwdriver. Pull this hose off. Over here, I'm going to disconnect the connector right here. There's a button on the back side. Push it down. Pull the connector off. It's a connector for the mass airflow sensor. Disconnect that. Little retainer right here, pull that off. Take this clip off here so we can move the throttle cable out of the way. We'll take this one off too. And that one there. Just push it out of the way. Next we can use a straight blade screwdriver. Loosen up the worm clamp on the throttle body. Loosen this up. Pull that out of the way. I'm going to pull these hoses off using some channel lock pliers. Just pinch the clamp and then twist it back and forth. Do the same for this one. You can pull this box out of the way. So I need to take this lower cover off. I have a 10mm bolt here. There may have been other bolts here. This vehicle is missing some. So let's take this one off. I'll use a 10mm socket, an extension, and a ratchet. Over here there's a bolt. There's one right here. There may be one right there, and right here. Pull it down. Ready? Yep. All right, so this lower part of the fan shroud has to come off. I'm going to take and grab the center right here. Pull it past that little nub right there. We should be able to slide this out. Up here on the fan shroud, as you can see, there's a little tab right here. Can you see it? Mm-hmm. All right. You're going to push down on that tab, and you can pull out. That's going to release the lower part of the fan shroud. And I'll do the same for the other side. A little tricky to get your hands up in here. Let's see. And I'll take that piece off. You can rotate it, pull it down, pull it out. These little clips right here on both sides. All right, we're gonna drain the coolant. This vehicle does not have a pepcock on the radiator, so what we're gonna do is disconnect the lower radiator hose. We're gonna have something to drain the coolant into. We'll grab it. Grab this clamp with some channel lock pliers, move it to the side. And we're gonna use one of these picks, like a right angle pick. We actually sell a kit of these at 1aauto.com. You can take and get right in here, go all around the hose. That'll loosen it up. Be careful not to get it all over you. I want to take a shower in it. So once that's drained, leave that out of the way. There's a little bit of rust on this clamp up here. I'm just going to spray it with some rust penetrant before I try to take off the clamp. And you get some channel locks to hold it so it doesn't twist while I'm doing this. Just like this. Loosen this bolt up. As I loosen the bolt, it loosens up on the clamp. Pull that clamp aside. All right, I can grab the upper radiator hose, twist it a little bit, peel it off. Next we're going to take this hose off right here. There's a clamp right here. You just grab it with your fingers, pinch it, and pull that off. Then we'll pull the hose off over here. That goes to the coolant reservoir, and we'll just set that aside. Next, I'm going to take this 10mm bolt out on the fan shroud with a 10mm socket and a ratchet. And we'll take this one out as well. Pull that bolt out. Then the fan shroud should be loose. All right, so I'm just gonna pull this up over here. Once I pull that up, then I'll be able to clear this hose over here. Pull it up over there. Gently pull it out. So before we pull the belts off, we're gonna take this fan, these nuts for the fan, and we're just gonna loosen them up. We're not gonna take them out completely. We just wanna crack them free. It'll be easier to do it while the belt is still on there. So we take our 10mm wrench, get in here. Just crack it free, crack this one free. Crack this one free. Sometimes you might have to hold the belt if it's really tight. And then this bottom one. So once those are cracked free, we can take the belts off. Okay, first we're going to take off this AC belt. The tensioner is right here. It's not an automatic tensioner, so it's a manual tensioner. So we're going to have to start by loosening this nut right here on the front of it. It's a 14mm. Just loosen it about a half a turn. And then the adjuster is over here. We're going to use a 14mm socket. We'll start loosening it. As we loosen it, the belt is getting looser. The tensioner is going down. We can take the belt off here, just like that, and then bring it around the fan. So we are reusing these belts because they're new. If we were replacing them, this would not make a difference, but we want to label these from where they came off so you don't put them in the wrong spot. So we're going to put AC on this one because it's the AC belt, and we'll label the others as we go. So next we're going to take off the drive belt. This drives the alternator and the water pump, and that's it. And the tensioner is right here. We're going to use a 14mm socket and a ratchet, and I'll just crack this free. Just go about a half turn. And then the adjuster is over here on the side. The adjuster for this is a 12mm, so we're going to use a 12mm socket, an extension, and a ratchet. And we're going to loosen this up, and that's going to bring the tensioner up and take the tension off the belt. Once there's enough tension off the belt, you should be able to slide it off. Take it off here. Go around the fan, just like this. Just like that. This one's the drive belt, so we'll label it drive. All right, we're gonna get this power steering pump belt off. We need to raise the front of the vehicle. We have a 12mm wrench that we're gonna loosen this nut up just a little bit. Crack it free, maybe a half turn, maybe a whole turn. That's about good. And then the adjuster is over here on the side. It's somewhat hard to get to. It's a 12mm. You can loosen it with a wrench or a ratchet wrench. You might be able to get a small socket and ratchet in there. Try it with a 12mm socket and ratchet. Just loosen this. As we're loosening this, the belt. Belt should, yeah, you can pull on the belt and that will pull the power steering pump down. This is loose enough I can do it by hand. Just keep pulling it down. All right, so now I'm able to fold the belt up and over and off the power steering pump. And then I'll take it off the crank and pull it down. Now that we have the belts off, I'm going to take the rest of the nuts off of this fan and pull the fan out of our way. You can use a 10mm wrench if they're still tight. When I get the last one almost out, make sure you're holding the fan so it does not fall off. You don't want it to hit the radiator because it could damage the radiator. I'll grab the fan, pull it gently. You can pull the fan out. This water pump pulley will come right out. We're going to take this bolt out right here for the bracket that holds this lower radiator hose on. It's a 12mm, using a 12mm socket with an extension and a ratchet. We're going to loosen up the clamp. It's a 10mm socket and a ratchet. It's a little rusty, so spray a little rust penetrant on it. Let that sit for a second. I'm going to hold this bracket with some channel lock pliers and then loosen it up. Pull that clamp out of the way. Get in here with our pick. Should be able to twist. Grab the hose and twist. Here's our pick again. Go all the way around, that'll break the seal on the hose. Oh, now it's loose. You just pry it back and forth. Should be able to pull it off. Just like that. Now we're going to pull the thermostat out. We've got 3 12mm bolts on this. Take these bolts out with a 12mm socket, extension, and a ratchet. Right, pull that last bolt out. As you can see, we have a lot of room here. We pulled some of the stuff out just to make the video better, but you don't have to take everything out that you don't see. So you can do this with more of the stuff in the way, but for the sake of the video, we pulled it out. Okay, so I'm gonna take a pry bar, I'm gonna stick under here. Just gonna pry out on the thermostat housing, just like that. It's actually glued on, and I can pull it off. We actually sell these pry bars at 1aauto.com. Just gonna grab this with some channel lock pliers, just like this. Just grab it and pull it out. There's our old thermostat. All right, so I'm gonna clean up some of the sealer with a rag and some brake parts cleaner. Just get that all clean. Okay, if there's a little bit of RTV to scrape, we can scrape it off here. This gasket scraper, we sell these at 1aauto.com. Now we're going to scrape the gasket material off the housing using the same scraper. All right, we're going to install the new thermostat. There's a little breather right here. You always want that breather at the top so the air bubbles can go through there. So insert that right like that. So we're going to take the housing. We're going to use some gray RTV engine sealant and just put a thin, real thin bead all along. Very thin. Go around all the holes. Just like that. All right. Make sure your thermostat's pushed in. And we'll take our housing and line the holes up. Push that on. Put our bolts in. Take a socket and get the other one started. Get this other bolt in. Get that one started, and then this last one. Take my ratchet and snug these all down. Okay, we're going to torque these bolts to 150 inch-pounds. Make sure you're using an inch-pounds torque wrench, not foot-pounds. So we're going to put the power steering pump belt on. Normally you have the coolant fan on here. We have the fan off at this time to make it easier to see. We're going to wrap this belt around the crank. On the back side of the crank pulley is where the V channel goes. And then over here onto the power steering pump. We'll start it at the top and then we'll try to rotate it down just like that. We're going to tighten up the adjuster screw right here. It's a 12mm. I'm using a 12mm socket with a ratchet. I'm just going to tighten this to get more tension on the belt. Now we can reinstall this hose. I'm going to turn this. Yeah, all right. Now we'll reinstall this hose. Stick this here. We can tighten that hose clamp down. Use a 10mm socket extension and a ratchet. We'll tighten this hose clamp down. All right. Clamp that down so it's snug. Install this bolt here. Install this bolt here. A 12mm bolt, we'll tighten it down. The 12mm socket and extension. Okay, I'm going to install the fan next. I'm using a ratchet wrench to tighten these nuts down. You're not going to be able to get a torque wrench in here. So just do the best you can. Once we put the belts on, you can snug them up a little bit more. Next, we'll take our drive belt. Pull the tape off that we labeled it with. Now, when you're putting this on, you'll still have your radiator shroud here. You can sneak it past there. I'm gonna go around the fan, just like so. And you're gonna have the belt start at the crank. It's gonna come up to the water pump. It's gonna go back here on the alternator. Once it's around all three of those pulleys, then we can put it under our tensioner pulley. Now we're going to tighten up the tensioner pulley right here. We'll take a 12mm socket, an extension, and a ratchet, and we'll tighten up this tensioner pulley. And right here, when we push down on it, we're looking for about 1/4 inch of deflection. And that is probably about good there. If you find that the belts squeal You may want to tighten it up a little bit more, and you may have to tighten it if they stretch a little bit. So now we'll tighten this bolt up for the tensioner. Lock that down. It's pretty good and tight. Now we'll take our AC belt that we labeled, pull the tape off. And we'll slip it over the fan. It's going to go around the crank down below. It's going to come up around and on the compressor, and then up and over the tensioner. Oops, slipped off the crank. Just like that. Now I'm going to tighten the tensioner right here. For this adjuster, I'm going to need a 14mm socket and an extension and a ratchet. I'll tighten this up. Make sure it's around your pulleys in all the grooves. And the same here. We're looking for about a 1/4 inch of deflection. So we'll tighten this a little more. That's about good. Give it one more turn. All right. Now we'll tighten this nut down. Now that's snug. Now if any of these end up squealing or loosen up in a couple days of driving, then just snug them up a little bit more. So after you install the belts, you're going to want to tighten these nuts up for the fan. So get in there with your 10mm wrench and make sure those are snug. Now we're going to put our radiator fan shroud on. Slide this over. It's a little bit tight over here. Just snug it under here. Just like that. There's some pins, it lines up down here, and then same on the other side. Make sure that's in, and then we'll put the 2 bolts in. Take this bolt right here, and then this one right here. We'll tighten these 2 up with a 10mm socket and a ratchet. Same with this one. Put this hose on, the upper radiator hose. Get this clamp lined up. Down. Use a 10mm ratchet and tighten this down. Make sure that's snug. Pull this throttle cable down. Click that in place. And then this goes in over here. Like that. Take the air filter. Stick the air filter back in. We'll take the air box. It's gonna slide in under here. Yep, there we go. Click that in there. Click this in here. this right here. And clip this one right here. I'll clip this hose on here. And there's another coolant hose. This goes to your overflow. This gets clipped in over here, here, pushed on there. And then this is gonna go right here. Connect that snorkel to the throttle body. And these two little breather hoses. And grab my pliers. Squeeze this, and I can put that on there. And then this one can go on here. Move this clamp with my channel lock pliers. Oops. Push that on. I'll take this. I'll tighten that up right here. Tighten this up. This worm clamp up with an 8mm socket and a ratchet and extension. Make sure it's all the way down. Looks good. Snug that up. This goes underneath this clip, just like that. Oh. This wire right here goes over to here. If this clip wasn't broken, it would secure right there. And then this plugs into the mass airflow sensor, right like that. All right. Now we're gonna put this lower fan shroud on. Get this lined up here. Get the top part lined up. And that'll clip in. This will clip in. And then this one should clip in. There it goes. It's locked in. Make sure that tab's in there. That's good. Put this lower shield back up. This shield does not have all the bolts, so you may have more than what we have here. You may have bolts there, there, and there. This one does not have those bolts. Oops, put this one here. Good. We're going to connect the negative post to the battery. Tighten it up with a 10mm wrench. Now we're going to want to add our coolant. You can use a funnel. Add your 50-50 mix of coolant in there, and we're going to fill it up and then bleed it. Whenever you replace any internal engine components or you're draining the coolant for any reason, you're going to want to add your coolant here into the radiator. You cannot add the coolant just in the reservoir because the engine will not get any of the coolant. So add it to the reservoir. If you're checking your engine coolant on a regular basis, you can just check the reservoir and top that off. And we're going to add our 50-50 mix of coolant and water. As we're adding this, it's a good idea to look underneath the vehicle and check and see if there's anything leaking out. Ours looks good. Okay, so there is some air in the system still, even though we have this coolant all the way filled. The radiator is full of coolant. The engine still has some air pockets in it. What we're going to do is we're going to start the vehicle and let the engine run for about 10 minutes. All right, so we let the vehicle run for about 10 minutes. As you can see, the coolant temperature, we want to keep monitoring it while we're letting it run. We want it about halfway in between the cold and the hot. This vehicle doesn't have temperature readings, so you just have to use your best judgment. If you start seeing it go up to about 3/4 above, not in the halfway mark, you're going to want to stop, shut the vehicle off, let the vehicle cool down, and then re-bleed it, recheck your levels, and start over. All right, so we let the engine run for about 10 minutes, and the engine got up to operating temperature, and the thermostat opened, and all the air bleeded out of the engine and came out our funnel, and everything's all bled, everything's good. So at this point, what I'm going to do is with this funnel, stick this plug in here, and then I can pull the funnel up and make sure the level is right up to the top of the radiator. And with the engine still hot, I will put this radiator cap on, and we will let the engine cool down. We are going to want to check before we just let it cool down the coolant reservoir and make sure the coolant reservoir has enough coolant in it. I like to go about 1 inch above the fill line when doing this procedure because it is going to suck back in some more coolant, and then you can adjust it once the engine is cool. So I'm going to add this coolant to the reservoir. If you don't have one of these funnels, that's okay. When you're bleeding the system, you can leave the radiator cap off while you're running the engine. You're just going to have to monitor it closely so that you don't lose coolant. So you're going to have to stand here with your coolant bottle and keep adding coolant. And if it starts coming out, then shut the engine off and start the bleed procedure again.
Thanks for watching. Visit us at oneauto.com for quality auto parts, fast and free shipping, and the best customer service in the industry.